Fun fact, in the US, the PS3 Ratchet & Clank games were initially known as the Ratchet & Clank Future games. But the word future was difficult to translate into multiple languages, so when the series made the leap to Europe, they just dropped the word future from the title, and the games just became known as Ratchet & Clank. Why am I telling you this? No reason. Anyway, A Crack in Time, or to give it its proper title, A Ratchet & Clank Future 2, A Crack in Time, was Insomniac's full-length sequel to Tools of Destruction. Anticipation was running high. The game that was delivered, however, was another Ratchet & Clank game, for better and for worse. Clank has been abducted by some mysterious creatures called the Zoni, that up until that point had been helping him on his adventures with Ratchet. Attempting to find his friend, Ratchet discovered at the end of Quest for Booty the identity of the villain behind Clank's kidnapping, none other than Dr. Nefarious, the popular antagonist from Up Your Arsenal. It turns out that Dr. Nefarious is tricking the Zoni into allowing him to search Clank's brain in an attempt to find the secrets to something called the Great Clock, and when this fails, he just takes the clock over by force, damaging it in the process. This, in turn, causes a massive temporal anomaly that damages Ratchet's ship, forcing him to crash land on the planet his search for Clank has led him to, where he's mistaken for a completely different person who, as it turns out, might be able to help him in his quest. The plot is by far the strongest aspect of this game, featuring plenty of twists and turns as well as some excellently written characters with clear motivations and personalities, leading to a truly memorable story, even if there are one or two head-scratching decisions, like the complete absence of Tolwyn, who throughout Booty had gotten fairly close to Ratchet, and is effectively replaced here with Captain Quark for seemingly no other reason than to inject a few laughs into the mix. She's name-checked once or twice, but it still seems very odd for such an important character of the franchise to basically vanish. Thankfully, that's a minor issue, and one that's quickly forgotten once the game gets going. Gameplay is divided into 3 sections. On Foot as Ratchet, which is the tried and tested gunplay and platforming the series is known for, On Foot as Clank, which involves manipulating time to fix the Great Clock, and On-Board Ratchet's Spaceship, which features ship-to-ship combat and exploring various systems and collectibles. Although Ratchet's on-foot portion of the game starts off feeling very similar to previous games, with its large number of ridiculously silly guns and enemies with which you can use them, it evolves into something much more once you obtain the hover boots, which allow you to zoom across the levels and engage in high-speed platforming. These boots are a huge amount of fun to use once you get the hang of them, and they really help to make the game stand out from the rest of the series. Clank sections, which the game will switch to every so often, play somewhat differently. There's a small amount of melee combat, but the main focus is on time puzzles, where you can create up to 4 copies of yourself to raise platforms, open doors, and trigger switches that allow you to access the rest of the clock. Thankfully, the controls for Clank have at long last been redesigned to match Ratchet's, with a strafing system and a double, or rather quadruple jump helping the controls to feel much more precise, but it doesn't help these sections from feeling like they drag on too long. Shorter sections interspersed throughout the game a bit more frequently might have helped in this regard. Finally, there are the spaceship sections. These initially hold promise as you're given the chance to explore several star systems, but quickly fall flat when you realise just how limited this aspect of the game actually is. Everything takes place on a 2D plane, so while the space sections may look impressive, they may as well be taking place over a flat piece of land. On top of this, there's actually very little to do. Each sector will have 2 or 3 fetch quests, around 5 planetoids with an on-foot platforming challenge, and a few dropships you can shoot. And that's really about it. The whole thing just feels like a massive missed opportunity. Had these sections taken place in a true 3D environment, something a bit more like Star Fox, for example, with more side missions and opportunities to make use of all the upgrades you can make to your ship, this could have been an amazing addition to the game. Instead, it just feels like an excuse to pad things out a little. And yet, at the same time, great ideas are often implemented and then completely thrown away. For example, there's a brief section where you have to impersonate Dr. Nefarious and bark out orders to underlings. It could be a lot of fun, but it only lasts 5 minutes before being thrown aside. If it sounds like I'm being overly harsh to this game, then it's only because I can see where they could have made this game so much more than what it already is. Yet another Ratchet & Clank game. And to be fair, what is here is pretty damn good. The core gunplay is as robust and solid as ever, the visuals are once again absolutely gorgeous, the music is enjoyable and memorable, especially the radio stations you can tune into while in space, and the humour is, as ever, present and correct. But on the other hand, the same old issues crop up yet again. Some of the levels still look big, but feel small. Some of the weapons get outclassed no matter how much you level them up. There's still no in-game subtitles. The strongest armour still covers Ratchet's face, unless you're equipping with a pirate hat unlocked from playing Quest for Booty. This is the 3rd game in the Future series. You'd think they'd have figured out how to solve issues like this by now. But at the end of the day, this is a Ratchet & Clank game through and through. If you've enjoyed the series thus far, you will enjoy this one. And while it could have been more, what exists is still extremely good. It just could have been that little bit better. And seeing that kind of frustrates me. Not by much, but still.